Hell is Forever is an excellent display of villainy. Here's why. That is the statement that I'm going to be expanding upon in this video. Hope you guys enjoy. Here we are, once again, just before the song start. Different song this time, but same premise, right? And Charlie, Adam, and Lute have just gone through that little conversation. Lute's like, you don't matter because your father gave yourself a pardon from an Exorcist blade and all that. And then Adam's just been like, oh, guess we're running low on time. You know, you gotta get it out of the way. And what better way to project your thoughts and your image to someone else in a short amount of time than a musical number? How about that? There's not many other things that beat that. It's musical number, and then just above musical number is musical number. Just got the edge over musical number. So it's not exactly the best form of, okay, whatever. That joke went way too far. Let's just get into it.
Okay, I've got a lot to get through and not a lot of time, and I feel like you...
Whoa, I didn't know that happened. She just conjured that out of nowhere. That was crazy. I'm pointing at the screen right now. You can't see it. I'm pointing. Anyway.
Hearing me before, so here goes. My Hazbin hotel.
So there's a little bit of a reprise of Happy Day in Hell there, despite the fact that we've just heard it, but whatever. It just ties into the fact that that song is so good that they have to use it again in order to get it across to this guy, who doesn't listen, quite obviously. But I still think it's cool that this is the song that Charlie thinks of in her head. This is the rhythm that she has. Whenever she wants someone else, or a wide amount of people, or just anyone who isn't her to grasp her concept, she immediately defaults to Happy Day in Hell because she knows it's so good. She knows it works. It works for herself, so it must work for everyone else. As I said in the last video, Happy Day in Hell just assures Charlie that she can do it. Perhaps it's a form of comfort song for her, and something she turns to as a way to make herself feel confident, like she did on the way here, and she's doing it again now. It's like an exercise in a way, but an exercise that's very vocal and has another effect. It's just my own little theory that Charlie keeps herself and keeps her composure by singing, and that's why she always goes to big musical numbers, because it makes her feel really empowered and overwhelmingly confident and powerful within herself. Not towards others in a power way, but like powerful within herself, so she feels that inner power to do this and have that driving force, that battering ram to burst through that wall and just go, I'm here, I'm confident, I'm Charlie, and this is my idea. You should listen to it.
Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Right, extermination. I know you guys fly down just to kill once a year, and it must be...
So I like how she's using that as a representation, just in case you don't get what she's saying, because she's talking so fast, or singing so fast. So she uses these little illustrations, and you don't really pause to see them, but it very much paints the angels in a bad light as a way to make them kind of feel guilty of what they're doing. So I think that's Charlie's goal there, is to have this subliminal, I use this word a lot, subliminal, another word for that please in the comments, way for the angels to understand that what they're doing does not benefit everyone. It's like stimuli as well. You've got the stimulus in the audio where Charlie's saying it and you listen to what she's saying and processing that. Then you got the visuals to go with it. That's why it's always good to have visuals and vocals on a lot of things. That's why YouTubers, not me not included, that's why a lot of YouTubers have fast transitions and clips changing all the time, because if they keep a clip on for 10 seconds or longer, you might click off, and I'm really not doing myself justice here, am I? Leaving it on this freeze frame. But that's what it is. It's stimuli for the eyes and for the ears, because they obviously a lot of YouTubers use voice programs to compress their voice and make it sound more crisp and make it easier to understand. I don't use that as much. I use a normalizer, so it stops the voice from going really loud in your ear. But other than that, I don't use as much effect as others to make that stimulus in your ears and also in your eyes, because from a screen and from where Charlie's sitting now, she can't stimulate any other sense. It's only the sight and the hearing, because they can't smell what's in that room because they're holograms. Just like YouTubers can't make you smell something because you're on the other side of a screen, and they also can't make you touch something because they're on the other side of the screen, and the angels here are in heaven, so we know already that they can't touch until at the end of the song when Adam breaks that barrier somehow with some magic or whatever. But overall, I think that's cool to see how Charlie's using that in a way to emphasize everything and keep them engaged. And quite honestly, the only reason I went on a rant about it is because it's very relevant to today. That's what people love, relatability. If you can relate to a character, you're going to enjoy him a lot more. Doesn't really apply to Alistair. People love him because he's mysterious. But if someone like Charlie was who she was, but no one related to Charlie, no one's ever experienced something similar, rejection, nothing, maybe everyone was in a perfect world and you're like, what's this character now? I can't relate to them. Why would I like them? Like, Angel is a negative character in some lights, but people enjoy him more for his flaws than they do for his front that he puts on. And that's just because people can resonate with him. But if we were in a perfect world where no negativity happened and you threw Angel into that world, they'd be like, this guy's so negative. Why? I've never had an experience like that before. Why would I sympathize with him? You know, that doesn't happen here. So that level of relatability is what keeps a character relevant. And a lot of other things relevant. The fact that similar things are being endured by people today, or experiences that have happened in the past that the individual lives to tell the tale for, that they can now relate to that character with. Pretty cool.
To schlep all the way here. If they join you in heaven, that trip disappears. You can wave at George.
I love the rainbow as well to make things seem overly optimistic and better than they actually are. And she's also saying, which is a good thing that Charlie's doing, is she's appeasing to them. She's like, no, you won't have to come all the way down here, schlep down here and kill them all. They can just come to you. You guys can just chill up in heaven and eat your ice cream or whatever, because they'll all come to you just in time. But obviously Charlie's trying to relate, because one of the best parts of not manipulation but persuasion, a lot of this is used in logos, ethos, and pathos. Specifically pathos, because that appeals to the emotions and relatability of the situation. So the fact that she can get in those emotions and those feels in a way that she thinks are there but aren't actually, but that direct call out to someone who wouldn't want to come down and kill them all and would just rather them come up to heaven and have less of a stress on them, they would resonate with that and quite possibly be more keen to accept Charlie's proposal, because she's appealing to what she thinks they will respond best to and what positives she thinks they can get from it, which is what she fires out straight away. She gives the story from her perspective and then goes, well, here's my point of view and it's not good, this and that, but here's what would happen if we stopped that and how it would help both of us, specifically you know? I know I'm here to talk about how it would help me and my people, the sinners, but also I'm gonna lean more towards this. I know I'm here for this, but it would appeal a lot more to you. Here are the positives, and it makes the positives that are directed towards them a lot bigger, despite the fact that they're definitely 100% not as big as the positives that would come from them stopping doing it on the sinners side of things. But the fact that Charlie would emphasize that and make it sound more appealing makes it seem bigger than it actually is. It's perspective, but in the mind, it's mental perspective. That's freaking epic, man. These guys are so good at writing things.
Farewell. It'll be a happy day.
Let me stop you right there. Save us all precious time.
So she says that it'll be a happy day. Oh god, he cuts in, you know? And then she's trying to play it off the smile there like, oh yeah, what? What are you saying? Adam's just in there not even caring, frat boy ass guy walking in. Doesn't give a crap, quite frankly. And that's what characterizes him immediately and just gives intrigue. Here it is. Here's the part of the video where I talk about audience intrigue. The audience are instantly drawn away from Charlie towards Adam. That's why people, I need to bring this up, people criticize that Charlie isn't a good main character because she's not got enough interesting traits. But that's the fact that everyone else is so much more interesting from an outsider's perspective. At face value, Angel has so much more to him than Charlie, when really they're probably equal in their experiences and things like that. It's just the fact that Charlie plays it off so cool and seems so happy all the time that she doesn't seem as interesting as someone like Angel, who plays it off very flamboyant, or someone like Alistair, who plays it off very mockingly, where he just goes ha 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 to mock the other person. Charlie's the complete opposite of that. She doesn't mock with a smile, but she does have a smile. She's not flamboyant, but she has a smile. A lot of these characters share the smile thing, but use it for different reasons. And they're all covering up something, aren't they? A smile is literally to cover up a lot of the time in this world. Al uses a smile, Angel uses a smile, Charlie uses that smile to lighten situations. And the thing is with Charlie's smile is it has an effect, whereas Al's smile is more of an effect on the other people around him that make him kind of intrigued, but doesn't give him much apart from a mask to shield with. Whereas Charlie's isn't limited to just making other people happy with a smile, but she also makes herself happy and laughs at herself when she smiles, because that's the thing. If your motivation behind your smile is to make you happy, like I said in the last video, when you smile, like I smile now, I'm laughing at myself and I didn't even make a joke. I'm just smiling. That's just how it is. I just hit my desk. Sorry. Anyway, Charlie uses that smile to lighten herself up and make herself feel better in the situation, which makes other people in the room, not this room, because bunch of assholes, but other rooms a lot happier. So she has that outside effect as well as the inside effect, whereas on the flip side, a lot of the other characters are completely the opposite, or only have half of it, where they give an effect to everyone else, which isn't the desired effect. Maybe it is. Alistair's desired effect is mystery and intrigue, and he gets that, absolutely, more than he needs. Angel gets a reputation, and more of what he probably wants is just hide it. So the desired effect of Angel's smile is to just make people think that there's nothing wrong with him, which it works, absolutely. People don't really think much into Angel more than what he does and how he acts at face value. But as I said, Charlie's makes her happy and others happy. The smile is used literally only for happiness. It's used in tense situations, yeah, but for the desired effect of what? Happiness. It's used in every situation for the same goal, and that's to just lighten the situation. There's no trying to cover up. There's none of that. If Charlie feels sad, she'll smile, and it'll stop the sadness. If Al's sad and he smiles, it masks the sadness. There's the difference. Same thing with all the other demons and even people in this world. The smile is covering it up. But if you were to just have that mindset that the smile is to make you happy, then it'll make you happy and just get rid of the sadness a lot of the time, if you put your mind to it. Anyway, that's the secret behind the smile. Charlie's smile, that is. We'll get to the other one later.
What you're suggesting is letting them climb up the ladder. Oh, they'd rather cross the pearly gate.
So he uses it as a way to mock, which is what Adam's whole thing is about. Luke doesn't care either, just listen to Adam, which I think I'm gonna have a video on Adam and Luke, because I think they're so interesting. Like, it's so under the radar that no one realizes how many little hints these guys have that they've got something deeper going on, whether it's just serious best friendship or anything more than that. They've got a dynamic that I think is great that I want to get into at some point. But yeah, also the symbolism of the ribs, I think that's already been said plenty of times. I don't need to keep repeating what others say. Though the fact that Adam's first instinctual reaction is to mock and take the piss out of really shows who he is. And it's why there's that main character problem that I'm going to keep bringing up, but in a positive way. And that's why it overshadows Charlie, because it is written to meant to do that, if that makes sense. It's written in a way where Adam's meant to overshadow Charlie and have the audience turn to him. So really, it depends on your preference if you like to hear more about the main character, but if you're more interested in having the world and the other characters fleshed out, I think that's what they learned from Hell of a Boss, right? Is they got a lot of that from Hell of a Boss, where there wasn't enough development for Millie and stuff, and people, whatever, who cares about the negativity, but they learned from that, and they said, all right, we'll give more time to the background characters and the side characters in Hazbin, and then that just got rid of the main characters. So there's no middle ground, especially with the season runtime having 8 episodes, 21 minutes each on average. It's really hard to do that. So the fact that they have done that so unbelievably well in the series is honestly admirable. The fact that they put so much effort into the other characters by just a few lines and the camera's framing, you instantly just forget about Charlie for a minute and go to Adam, which is the desired effect. You know, you win some, you lose some. You win some, you lose a few hundred, as Angel would say. Hopefully in season 2, maybe with longer run times or more episodes, we'd be able to focus more on Charlie. But to have the first season, which is mainly just a pitch, just to kind of get it out there and say, here's our season, do you want to see more? Then we'll expand on it in season 2 if you want to see more, which people do. I don't know where I was going with that. I forgot. I don't know where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought, but whatever I was saying was probably important. What am I on about? I've gone mad, but it is what it is, right? I can't do anything about it now. Just keep going.
Sorry, sweetie, but there's no defying their fate, 'cause hell is forever, whether you like it or not.
Instant point, right? He's been waiting to say that. Also the smear. He's been waiting to say that for ages. He's been like, just get it over with. Even for the 25, I think it's actually 27 exact seconds. Here I am, Hazbin fan, that Charlie sings for. Charlie sings for 27 seconds at the start of this song. And from the moment she opened her mouth saying, okay, I've no life to get through, not a lot of time, he's had this in the back of his head where it's just like, I just want to tell her that hell is forever. And then as soon as he can interrupt, he's like, I can interrupt there. And he just goes, you know, letting them climb, mocks her a little bit, and then goes, here's my main point. You've had your main point. Here's mine. Hell is forever, dude. Get a grip. Whether you like it or not, that's the dealio. That's how it's gonna work. And that, I think, is what makes Adam such an incredible villain, because he's unapologetically this guy, right? He is this guy. When you think of this guy, it's Adam. That's how he presents himself. Unapologetically this guy. And he really embodies the old school representation of a villain. No regard for anyone else. Narcissist, which he quite frankly is. You could probably diagnose that from him at this point. Besides that, he just embodies an old Joker from the old animated cartoon. He embodies a high school bully from many of the old school early 2000s high school movies that I've never watched, but the stereotype, which is there in my head despite me never consuming anything related to that media. In fact, I've been meaning to watch the Batman animated series for a while now, but the fact that that stereotype is still in my head from something that I've never consumed before, and the fact that Adam completely displays this and embodies this in the way that's so amazing, this traditional heartless villain. I mean, what else can I say? Is there anything left to be said? This thing's great. I love it.
Had their chance to behave better, now they boil in the pot.
So Adam uses this imagery, which I don't know if it's actually in there or not. This might just be visual, like Stayed Gone. Maybe it is just visual, but let's take it as a literal for now so I can talk about it for longer. The fact that he swings Charlie into heaven, or the visual swinger into heaven, to show that she's so close to getting there, but Adam pulls her back, which symbolizes that Adam and the Exorcist's exterminators, the extermination itself, the one roadblock between them and heaven is that extermination. Adam, head of the Exorcist, pulls her back from heaven heaven. You're so close to heaven, but the extermination, me, I'm pulling you back. How about that for symbolism? Loving it. And the fact that he says that she will boil in the pot, in quotes, which I guess symbolizes the fact that hell is completely overrun by lava and magma and volcanoes, hotness. Is that even a word? Boilness? It might well symbolize the fact that hell is a warm location and is like a pot where everyone's just there to boil and become food. Because when you boil something, you normally boil in food or soup or something like that, and then you eat it, don't you? You take bits of it, and that's what they're doing. Hell is the pot, and all the demons and the sinners and even the hellborns are all mixed in there. And just like a soup, when you go and put your ladle in the soup, because Adam's got a ladle, you put a ladle in soup, you take a sample, don't you? You don't take all the soup. And that's what Adam does. He comes down to hell, which is filled with different species, and gets his ladle and picks out all the sinners, eats them, which is taking them, killing them. That's a great symbolism. I don't know if that's even meant to be. I'm just thinking about that now, that hell is a concoction filled with different beings, and every year Adam is picking out with his ladle different bits of it, mainly the bits that he enjoys, the bits that he likes. He's like a vegetarian that's comfortable with soup that's had meat floating in it for ages, but he only picks out the vegetables, and they're the sinners.
'Cause the rules are black and white, there's no use in trying to fight it.
Oh, that's such good imagery when he goes, the rules are black and white. I just like it, and it kind of makes him look like a jester. When I first looked at him, it made him look like Mammon. That just me? That was just me, quite frankly, but that's just something I wanted to say. And I love this imagery where Charlie's trying to crawl out of this pit that's filled with all the dead sinners that they've all killed. All those arms, all those faces, all represent a single demon that's been slain by the angels, and Charlie is amongst them all those dead bodies, all the shattered souls, the souls that never found a true home. She's amongst them all, and she's trying to get the ones that are still alive. Maybe that's what the hands are. Maybe the dead people, the ones with the X in their eyes, maybe they're the dead sinners. But then the hands reaching out are the hands that Charlie's gonna grab and pull out of that mud and bring with her and try and get out of hell here, which is this imagery. She's crawling out of hell, trying to get to heaven where the angels are, because Adam's above her right now. It could may well be that. The arms are waiting to be pulled out. Maybe that's one of Angel's arms, perhaps, in symbolism, obviously. And she's gonna grab that arm and pull Angel out of that mud, of that rock that's keeping him bound to hell. You're coming with me, and I'm gonna swing you up. You know when people go climbing, and sometimes that you can grab them by an arm, and then they can swing you up with enough strength? They'll grab your arm and they'll swing your body, so then you can get higher ground. That's what Charlie's gonna do. She's like, I can't go to heaven, but I'm gonna sit here, and I'm gonna grab your arm. This is the Hazbin Hotel. I'm sat in the Hazbin Hotel, and that's just the edge right near heaven. And she'll grab down, and she'll swing the sinners up to heaven. That's what she's doing. She's like a guide. That is great development and thought gone into that. That's amazing. Honestly, the writers are phenomenal. But yeah, to summarize it, hell is filled with dead sinners, and the arms reaching out are the sinners that want to be saved or can be saved, and Charlie's there just on the edge of where heaven begins and hell ends, and she's swinging them up to heaven. She's grabbing their arms and she's making sure she's giving them that push. She's pushing them up to heaven despite the fact that she can't go there herself. That is heroic and symbolism at its finest.
They're burning for their lives until we kill them again.
Can we just admire that spin of the sword from Loot then? Like, just do that. Just scroll back and just watch that one more time. Dude! Anyway, the fact that when Loot swipes the blade and cuts through the screen and cuts down, the paper also snaps in two is a great way to show that under all that pressure, obviously the pressure from the blade would slice Charlie's dreams, because the blade is the thing that's stopping her and her people from getting up to heaven. It's that blade that's stopping them killing them all. So when the blade goes down, the paper that has her dream on it, her dream is on that paper. The page is sliced by the proverbial blade, shows that that blade is cutting through her dreams and slicing her dreams, ensuring that she'll never get to it. She'll never achieve what she wants to achieve. Dude, it's in seconds that you notice this.
Just try to chillax, babe. You're wasting your breath.
So Adam's being his little frat boy self right now. Just try to chillax, babe. Like, he does not care. He's just like, chill. Let me just sit in my embassy and do what I want. Like, he doesn't want to listen to this right now, and he makes it very apparent. That's what makes Adam such a good villain, because he's not afraid to speak his mind, but he won't admit when he's wrong. Because in episode 6, when Charlie asks what gets a soul into heaven, and Adam's like, and writes something down real quick and says, give me an effing minute. He won't admit that he's wrong and won't admit that he's not got anything. He'll just be like stalling until he can give something or show off or show something else that he has that's better than that. So he's very open speaking his mind, but when it comes to him personally, when it comes to his faults, so all of his positives, like, yeah, I did this and that, and then you're like, then we effed and it was great. Like, same stuff like that. But as soon as the conversation is brought up of what Adam did wrong, it's like, no, Adam did no wrong. Here's something that Adam did that's better better than the wrong that he did. Oh, Adam fell over yesterday. Yeah, but Adam also won a Grammy, you know, for his epic performance in Hell is Forever. Like, he's always going to try and bump himself up whenever it comes towards him in a negative light. He'll either bump himself up and make himself seem better than what he did that was wrong, or he'll just completely ignore it and change the subject.
Did I hear you imply that they don't deserve death?
He's like blasphemized. Like, he's having a word. He's blasphemic. He has blasphemy in his veins right now from what she just said, or what she's insinuating throughout this whole song. Did you just imply that they don't deserve this eternal damnation? Like, who do you think you are? You're not me. You don't get to decide this. That's why you've come to me. I have the power here. And that shows with the framing of the shot. He's always bigger than Charlie. That's what's great. And that's what's also good in the Angel and Valentino scene, which is good from a perspective of animation, where they make Val seem so much bigger. Not only is he bigger, but also the fact that they make him seem much more bigger than he already is, to show how small Angel is in comparison in that relationship. But you can see how they frame Val and Angel in episode 6 to be equal. That's something I think is great. Quick side tangent, when they're in that room, Angel and Val, and the unfortunate situation that happens, Val is so much bigger, but in episode 6, when Angel's walking away and says F off Val, he's shown to be bigger than Val. Val's in the background really small, and then Angel's in the front and center really big. But as soon as Val stands up and turns around and uses his power and say, I own you, Angel seems smaller than Val because Val's above him in that scene. But as soon as he pulls away, for a split second, he's on level with Val again. It's like he went from below in episode 4 to above for a minute in episode 6, back to below, and then ended on an equal, and then eventually fell to the floor. But when he fell to the floor, the fact that he was able to keep himself composed, they didn't frame him to be as big then. If you notice, comparing the two scenes, Val is so much bigger in episode 4 than he is when he knocks Angel on the ground in episode 6, because Angel grew a pair. And every time he does that, it makes him smaller and smaller. Val is projected across to us as being smaller and smaller every single time. I think that's what's great about the animation team in general. The fact that they know how to frame people in certain situations. And the fact that they can change so quickly. In episode 6, when they change the framing all the time to make the situation more enticing and show the high stakes. That's great.
Are they winners? Are they sinners? Cause it's cut and dry.
Actually, if you take a
Fair is fair, an eye for an eye.
So Charlie's constantly trying to get a word in, and there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, Charlie's unfortunate situation. So he says, fair is fair, an eye for an eye, which shows that he believes completely, utterly, and outwardly in revenge, which, sorry to get all religious here, but in the original texts of the Bible, I'm pretty sure stuff like that, there's a lot that comes up around an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and things like that, where overall in the extract that comes from, it is painted in a negative light. Revenge is seen as sinful, I think. I don't really remember. It might be, this is very uncharted territory, but from what I can remember, it is quite sinful or frowned upon or viewed in a negative light and has a negative stigma around the idea of revenge. And the fact that Adam goes against this despite being head of, well, just ignore that for a second, head of such a high-ranking part of hell society that heaven's denizens don't really know about entirely, but they don't know. It's like an underground, you know? The Exorcist army does so much for the denizens of heaven, but they don't really know much about it because it's so secretive. It's like that. Now back to what I'm going to add. The fact that the thing he's leading is an army of revenge-seeking angels shows the hypocrisy. Adam was the first man made perfect. He went to heaven for being the first man made perfect. Then he sinned several times, and probably even when he was alive sinned. Maybe he didn't, because the Garden of Eden was free of sin, right? And only Eve is seen to have eaten the fruit, which implies she may be in hell, just like Lilith for ignoring Adam. So perhaps there's some pity taken by whoever's above in this universe that sent Adam to heaven, but he sure did not stick to his non-sinful lifestyle when he went to heaven, because as soon as he was out of Eden, and Eden was, you know, banished away, demolished practically, they were banished from it, Adam was banished, so he was banished from Eden, that's when he started to sin, because as soon as Eve ate that fruit, the Garden of Eden was no more, practically, because they had done something against the higher power. So, practically, it is quite possible, and probably it is the dealio or whatever, that as soon as that happened with the apple, they were banished from Eden, and sin crawled into the world. So, the fact that Adam was alive when sin crawled onto Earth and made its way there implies that he probably sinned, but it's also equally as possible that he didn't sin in his human life and went to heaven and then started to sin in many different ways, such as revenge.
When all said and done, there's the question of fun.
So he's doing this in a mockery sense, right? He's trying to make this seem so innocent, like there's a question of fun. And then as soon as he's walking down, and then he gets there and he's like, extermination is entered. Like he completely flips his opinion. He's pointing it in this light where it's like, yeah, but what about this? And he's trying to act like he's listening to the criticisms. Like, yeah, there is this question of fun. Is this fun? And also, he doesn't say this, but it's also kind of implying the stuff that Charlie's saying is also being brought up here. In a jokey sense, mind you, as a way to mock Charlie. He's making it seem like he's thinking about these things like, oh yeah, maybe. Nah. When he knew the whole time he was gonna say nah. But he gives Charlie that beacon of hope for a second. Will he finally notice the error of his ways? No. Just no.
And for those of us with divine ordainment, extermination is entertainment.
So he's doing that little action where he uses his hands there to kind of weigh up, I think. That's a way to do it. He's weighing up the fact that there's these negatives, but the positives are fun. Like, the only positive about the extermination is fun for us. And all the negatives that weigh them down, they're like, nope, but fun for us. That's the most important one. That's the positive that beats all the negatives there. And this is a time and place where I think the negatives are very, very important. They can be used in a way here that is essential. If you stay positive, just like I asked you, that is amazing. But as soon as there's a discussion brought up, and if there are stakes on the line, or maybe there's things that could be done, if you think about the negatives now and make a decision, an informed decision based on the positives and the negatives compared, then you can create more positives. Then the negatives are important. Never shy away from the negatives when it's essential. If you're trying to reach a positive goal, you have to weigh up the negatives. And if you think the negatives are worth it, I deem this fit to have this goal. Maybe the goal is positivity overall for everyone, but the negativity is everyone has depression for a year. That's horrible stuff, isn't it? But you have to make that informed decision. You'll go, positives are there will be no more negativity in the world after this, but the negative is for this amount of time everyone's gonna have to experience this, and afterwards there will be lack of this and that and that, and therapists will be out of a job and all that jazz. So you have to weigh up their negatives to make a positive decision. If you want to reach a positive and there's too many negatives, then you're probably just gonna create more negatives than positives there, aren't you? Great thing to think about.
Guitar solo, fuck yeah!
And he's just going off now. He's completely playing with this. Luke's just stood there, but Adam's playing with it now. He's not bothered about why they came here in the first place. The only reason when he found out he had a meeting with Lucifer in the first place, and I wonder what would have happened if Lucifer went instead of Charlie, but as soon as he found out that it was Charlie instead of Lucifer, he probably went in like he always does, but maybe with a bit more of a grin on. He always storms in every situation with his asshole face on, but as soon as he found out it was the daughter of a guy he hates, who he could try and manipulate or just take the piss out of and make them seem even sadder and all that. 2, it's a threat to them, so the fact that if he puts more of a face on, it would have more an effect. And 3, she is a woman. He immediately just went, okay, my asshole face, I'm gonna turn it from a 50 out of 10 to 105 out of 10, because I'm gonna walk into this interview today knowing that it's not a guy who could beat me up on the other end. It's an individual who's female, doesn't know much about their own potential, because Charlie doesn't know much about her powers herself. She just knows when she gets angry, she gets horns and stuff like that. By this point, she didn't know she had this power to just be like, slap, slap, boom, boom, I hate you, blast, or whatever, hit you with a giant red hand. She didn't know about that by now. And Adam kind of knew that from the fact that he never heard anything about that. Whenever he went down to hell to exterminate, Charlie never tried to stop him. So he probably just thought, interview today with this blah, 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 inexperienced, doesn't know her own strength, all that jazz. I can take advantage of the situation for my own benefit. What's my benefit? I'm gonna have the funnest day I'm ever gonna have, because there's so many traits this person has that work in hand with what I want, what my achievable goal is. My goal is to just take the piss about anyone because it makes me happy in a way that's twisted. So as soon as he finds a vulnerable person who can take the piss out of for ages, he is on it immediately. And I think that's what's great about Adam, what makes him such a great villain. And Lute as well, just being there by his side all the time. Those two are a dynamic duo that you would not expect to be so great and peak villainy and peak evil if you saw the thumbnail.
Hell is forever, whether you like it or not.
So just ingraining this now, digging into her head, going, hell's forever, over and over again. And then he summons all these other angels in that are probably from heaven or maybe just holograms. And Charlie's like, where did you come from? She says in a minute. This just makes Adam seem bigger. And honestly, dude, the projection of the scene is so good. It frames Adam in such a way where he is seen as massive, a threat. He is a threat. Like, he started off as an asshole. This guy's a great villain because he embodies the stereotypical villain. But one part of that stereotypical villain was he missing: the power and the fear. All all stereotypic villains that you have are assholes, only care about themselves, narcissists, and he had all that until now, and he still has it, but he has one extra thing, and that's fear. And another thing, power. Now he's shown his fear and power, he's practically immortal to us. He is invincible. For the viewer on the other end, they're like, right, there's nothing left on my checklist now, he's just a perfect villain. I am scared, I am shocked, I am surprised, I'm pissed. There's so many different things going on, and it's all from the fact that the way that they project this scene, and the way that Adam speaks, and the way that he acts. Dude, it's cool, man. And the fact that they use all these other angels to make him seem so much bigger and a bigger threat now, because he's got that fear factor and that power factor, because the power is that he's got all these angels, and the fear factor is that he's got all these angels. So now everyone's just overthinking about it, just like I am. But it just cements the fact, not use that for a little bit, that he, in general, Loot included, and his Exorcist army included, are peak villainy. You hear that pop? That pop peak villainy. Oh, and also I forgot the title. They are an excellent display of villainy. Yeah, who cares? That sounded way better, didn't it?
Had their chance to behave better, now they boil in the pot, 'cause the rules are black and white.
And there it is, Luke and Adam together, looking at each other with a smile on their faces, flying towards Charlie, while all these golden angels surround her, all these exorcists, overwhelming Charlie and making her feel genuinely afraid of these angels now, because she's never been so close to the exorcists before. But now there's so many in her face, and the head of all of them is just sat there, and he could come down and stop being a hologram at any moment and just swoop, kill, shing shing. Like, dude, it's so high stakes. And that's why, and that leads into episode 7, where Charlie says Adam has an invincible exorcist army out there, because though she's seen this happen for ages, and she's seen the effects year on year that the extermination has, she's never been so close to him. And that's why, when she's talking to Al and she has a freak out, I guarantee this, if you were Charlie, you would think of this. I guarantee Charlie thought of this in that situation. Charlie's head went immediately to this scene, because it was recent, it's the closest it's ever been to an angel. It's the first time that Charlie's felt true fear for her operation. The first time that she's ever thought, maybe I can't do this. She's had hope, and she's had hope for a while, and she's doing that. She keeps going, and she's so optimistic. Now, that face is no longer a smile, and she feels true fear towards what could happen. The unknown, the fear of the unknown, that's what she has right now. She doesn't know what these angels could hold, what power they hold, what they could do to her. Could they kill her, trap her somewhere for eternity? And more importantly, to Charlie, what could they do to all the people she cares about? And that's what makes her afraid the most. That's why she bangs on the wall, on the window, and goes, Adam has an invincible exorcist army, and there's nothing I can do about it, because she's afraid of everyone else getting hurt. And even in episode 8, she sat there at Angel's door crying because she's so scared about what could happen to the people she cares about. Angel, Pensius, Vaggie, Al in a way, Egg Boys, Husk, Nifty, even Cherry. There's so much going through her mind.
There's no use in trying to fight it, they're burning for their lives.
Oh, the fist bump and the sink there, and the salute from Loot. Salute from Loot as well.
Until we kill them again, fucking hell.
Boom. Nothing else to say. He's got his guitar out now. He's basically just pulled out the big guns in his book. The guitar's epic. The shockwave's epic. It's just emphasizing this even more now, isn't it? Just showing it off. I'm this big guy. I've got a golden guitar. Divine. And also just to absolutely show off Alex Brightman here as well. He is phenomenal at everything. Everything. The fact that angels are like bopping the heads like kind of into it, like, yo, this is pretty sick. Boss has been cooking on this one. I hate saying that. You see this here when all the angels go back now? They give him like infinite wings behind him. He's got his own wings, and then all the golden wings of the other exorcists behind him to show that he's got them all on a leash. Not in like an Alistair Soul deal way, but the fact that he can make them do anything. Their wings are his wings. That's what it symbolizes. He controls his own wings, and the fact that all the wings that are amongst his own wings, he controls his own wings. Beneath and behind his own wings are everyone else's wings, shows that his wings are the predominant force, which is him. He is his wings, and all the wings behind him, he controls as well. Look at that scene. He's just picking his ear. Loot's there with a funny gremlin-ass face going on. All the rest of them are just sat around. Look at how strong we are. Just saying. Just saying. Now he pulls out the biggest guns he could. Apart from, it's tomorrow. Yeah, and he's like, F you, I do what I want. And then there's a picture of him, like, flipping off and all. It just shows that he has this much power. And Charlie is just, she's shocked out of heaven, quite frankly. In a literal way and a figurative way, she's shocked out of heaven.
Can't wait a whole year to slaughter those little rats. I know it's just been a week, but
And then he breaks the barrier. Like, that was a thing until now. Okay, but, and he's even interacting with the shirt as well. It's like the shirt is clenched. Dude, I didn't know you could do this. Power hungry man.
I'll be back in 6 months!
Yeah, he's like, well, back in 6 months, and just literally chucks all her ideas out the window. Except it's not a window. Chucks all of her ideas out the door. The saying that goes, get out of town, that's symbolic as well, because his town is the embassy. The embassy, which leads to heaven, is his town. He's like, get out of town. And there we go. That is Hell is Forever, bro.
Wait, can you...
And Charlie's trying so hard. She's like, come on, don't throw my ideas out the proverbial window. But no. Oh, crap. With an SH instead of a cr. Sad face Charlie crawls back in. How unfortunate. But you know what? We should play what happens next just to lighten all our hearts.
Charlie!
Charlie's like, you don't know what kind of day I've had, but Vaggy's just so overwhelmingly happy. You've not seen Vaggy that happy, to be fair. It's like the first time you've seen Vaggy with a full-on smile like that. And that is the conclusion to yet another amazing song analysis from Hazbin Hotel. Hope you guys enjoyed. Click a video on screen that best suits you. The one on the right was picked by YouTube just for you, and the one on the left is my most recent video. This was super fun to do, and I absolutely will be doing more. And after the song analyses, or analysis, whatever, there will also be character analyses, so stay tuned for that. Stay positive. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.